Okay, welcome back to the vlog. Well, as I've been saying, this season has been pretty busy. There's some wild things going on. And I also had this point where I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I talking to myself and then talking to you? But sometimes when I'm in my room, it's like, what the heck? But I realized that part of that was because I was not spending enough time to recuperate. I was just go, one thing after the other, and I kind of crashed this week, and now I've canceled some plans, and I'm I gotta chill out and reassess. I think that's important to come back to and have these things, this time. I'm calling it life strategy, where you're okay, reassess your values, reassess my intention, and being okay to let things go. And that kind of led me to this lesson this week, which is one thing that I think I kind of fell off, but I kind of want to keep incorporating it, because I see this part as part of the way I'm of service in my life is being in connection, offering positivity and positive connection, when in our lives we can be surrounded by negativity. And so it's I want to share some of that, and then also us exploring these concepts of life and the human experience together, and analyzing life and what the heck is going on and what does it mean to be a human, what's important. And that's part of what the podcast is too. But this week, what was really coming up, so quick things right before we just dive into it, but I also want this to be connecting, updating about my life, because there's some wild things going on, the baby stuff. We started trying last week. If you don't know, I'm going to be a sperm donor, and we're working on that. And we tried last week, but we're still learning about the ovulation window. So today, again, I'm trying, which it's kind of what you think of. I go into, there's a cup, there's a syringe. We're not doing it the old-fashioned way, but still working on that. And then haven't heard back from the show that I applied for. I don't think I'll hear back until mid-July or so. And then last week, I was talking about building a sauna. So focusing on using all reclaimed materials. Well, I'm going to get some wood, free wood, on Facebook Marketplace. And it's one of those things where the person won't give me their address for some reason, so I have to meet them at JJ's on the deli. You never know what you're going into with free wood, but it's a bunch of scrap wood. I'm hoping there's some little things in there. Not little things, but long pieces of wood, because it makes it a lot easier, but we'll just see. I got 2 little scrap woods, and then once I kind of exhaust that, then I'll just start getting the trees, the fallen trees, and then mill it up. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Well, I think it went pretty good. He actually had a bunch of wood, not scrap free wood, but wood he was getting rid of that was 2x4s and some plywood. And I did pay him $10, but considering 2x4 is at least $3 depending on the length, and a piece of plywood is $20 at least, I feel I made out pretty good. So I probably got a dozen 2x4s and maybe a 1.5, 2 sheets worth of plywood. So yeah, I think we won that round. So last week I also was working on a compost bin, and I built that out of reclaimed materials, and it's okay. I felt kind of in a rush for whatever reason, but it turned out. And then this week or I've been working on designing a sauna. So right now, not the super sexy part, but I'm going through and like I'm gonna use rocks, big heavy rocks as the foundation, piers, and then getting like just reclaimed materials, reclaimed wood, scrap wood, and then I'm gonna go get like beech wood and fallen trees from the forest and stuff, and like mill it myself. I probably will leave it like a lot of it natural, just because I kind of find it interesting, and I think it'll look cool and work pretty well. But milling is basically you just like cutting the wood, like, you know, it starts out as like a big log, and then when you mill it, you cut it into the dimensional lumber, so like a 2x4. And you can get wood mills where you like push it through, or you can use attachments on a chainsaw. And I'm gonna try to use my my table saw for some of it, if I need to. And then yeah, and so this weekend I'm gonna go out and like pick, like get it. It's like just out there in the woods, you know, and there's probably like some permit I need, but you know, it's also just there, maybe depending on your philosophy. And I'm not really taking that much, so, you know, sue me if you if you got a problem with that. But I'm gonna do it, like I'm not chopping down any trees, I'm just gonna go get the ones that are already fallen and stuff. So I feel good about it. So oh, I just got a message from my baby mama. Looks like they're back in town, and she said, who's ready to make a baby? So I'll probably head over to start doing that. The thing that I really wanted to talk about and like continue to incorporate this is like this concept of chasing people. And really it's a deeper, like energetic observation, like for myself and for other people. But this week, like, you know, I've been telling you how busy I am, but I even had a meeting with my friend. I've had 2 meetings with friends, and there was kind of like 2 sides of this coin. And then the one meeting was with my friend Aggie, shout out Aggie. And we were talking about like starting another venture here in Tacoma, kind of related to like talent management and marketing and things like that we're kind of like naturally prone to. But what I realized after our meeting, we had a good meeting, and, you know, we still needed, you know, tons of clarity. And, but what I realized is like, I'm already feel like I don't have enough time for my own things. So then it's like, if I take on one more thing, it's going to take away energy, and which is obvious, but like what we were talking about was so exciting, and I think it would be really successful, and it would be fun, and we're naturally, you know, have this natural disposition for it. But really I need to like focus on the things that I'm already doing, and then still have downtime, right? Like every little bit is like, oh, well, that's a little bit less time to relax or to recover. So I told her after that like I just can't do it and like set time aside for this. I need to like prioritize these things that I'm already doing and the vision I've set. And that kind of led me to this week. I kind of hit this low point. I see emotions as like, and our mental health as this wave. And like the more stable we get, the less of a wave it is, I think. But sometimes we still kind of hit a dip, and especially when we're overworking ourselves. I got to this point where I was like, what am I doing? What's the point of this? And I kind of lost sight. So I've been trying to plan these, like calling them life strategy sessions, where I reassess, like whether it's dropping something or refocusing or recommitting to like what my purpose is. And it was really helpful of like reminding myself, like, this is time for connection, like, and being of service, and also like exploring life's ideas together. And so it's like, that's a big part of it. And like, sure, maybe I'll make money. Like I'm trying to put some energy into that to like, you know, brand deals, affiliates, like help marketing with events, and supporting other people's businesses and ventures and things. I think it's great. Like as you like watch and support my journey, I can also like champion other people and give them this platform. And then the other big side of it is I had another meeting with my other business partner, who also might watch this. Shout out, Nathan. And this isn't like, I'm not saying any sort of shade, but we had this meeting and I've been feeling that there's kind of a imbalance in the amount of work and energy put into it. And I think he expressed he feels like a little bit of a lack of ownership. I think because I just like go so, like, I'm so focused on it. I do a lot. And so I was trying to kind of like bring him in more and give him more of a sense of ownership. But then I realized, like, why am I spending my energy to then try to like get someone to be doing what I'm doing, or like to be participating more than they already are? And I think there's some discerning for ourselves of when that's appropriate and when it's not. Like, there's a situation where you're like, let's recalibrate, let's have a session, get back on track, back focused, and like recommit. But then there's also like understanding, like, am I just like trying to get something that they're not trying to get someone to do something that they're not naturally inclined to do? And understanding like that, and kind of realize like I'm using my energy, and like in some ways, like if I make that choice, it can be like wasting energy, because I have a, like, not, wasting is a weird word when I don't think there's any waste in life, right? It's just the life journey. But not spending it, like, if I'm spending time to do that when I could be like just really diving into what I'm doing to make it more thriving, rather than like trying to like carry someone and their energy back to being more involved, then maybe it's like, I could be better spending my energy doing something that I want to be doing. So I've been assessing that, and then also, love Nathan, but then I'm like, I don't want to, force. It's like, feels like I don't want to be trying to convince someone of something they don't want to be doing either. Like, I don't ever want to be doing that. And then that also applies like hugely, and maybe even more, to like relationships. So like if you're dating, or like if you have a friendship and you feel like someone's just like not spending time, or like not making the effort, then like you wanting to have the conversation to get them to do more is going to feel like even more of a burden to them in some ways. And then also, like, why are we spending, like, hanging on and kind of chasing someone, especially in love relationships, but big time in friendships, where we're like trying to hang on to these things when someone isn't naturally inclined. And there's a difference of like, I make a priority to like nurture this connection, but if you're not feeling it reciprocated, like being aware of that, not being upset by it, but like maybe letting it go. Like, I'm not gonna spend time trying to, like, if I'm just spending time not in just natural connection, but I'm spending time trying to get them into more connection, like being aware of that and like maybe letting it go, so that you can spend more time in natural connection with the people and the places and the things and activities that just already like are harmonized with your life and your energy and your vibration, and can quit trying to like drag people in. And I've been on both sides of this, like in love relationships and friendships, where like, if for whatever reason, I feel like sometimes like it's our ego that can be hanging on to someone. It's like, especially in a love relationship where someone's like, oh, I don't have time or something, or like you're like bending over backwards to like make it work. But it's like their actions are saying everything. Like if they don't have time, just they're not doing the little things that you would want someone to be doing, then just, letting go, because they're not gonna all of a sudden just start doing that. And same thing with friendships. Like I hear this a lot too, of like someone's just like feels like you don't reach out to me, or you don't make time for our friendship. And it's like, you know, those are a little more nuanced to be like, okay, let's make sure we, you know, can prioritize this so we maintain this friendship. But then again, it's like, if your lives are just kind of going in different directions, different hobbies, then maybe just like letting it be what it is, and then spending that time to find the ways and the times and the people where you feel most harmonious is like really what I'm picking up on. And like, I want to really make sure that like I'm gravitating towards people and situations that feel harmonious and feel natural and easy. And the thing is, like, I say all this too, and want to make sure there's like, it doesn't mean that you can't work towards something or have intention about what you want to be doing. Like if you're like, I want to go for this job or I want to learn this thing, like dedicating your own time. But like if you're finding it just so extremely difficult to do something, like reassess. Like if you can't like naturally show up to something, like, do you really want to be doing it? Like being receptive to that too, like reassessing. But then again, there are times where it's like you'll be excited and then there's like a lull again where you're like, now I'm just like, this is where the discipline and the routine can come in to help carry us through these things, because we have this overarching goal. And that's like the life strategy session is really valuable to like reassess, reaffirm, get back on track. But then like you can also like just learn to set your intention, like, okay, I'm going to show up for this thing and continue down this path and continue like building and attracting this energy, so that that activity or those type of people that you're looking for, it starts to become more harmonious. But maybe in the beginning it didn't feel quite as much. But really there's so much about discernment of energy, like learning to really listen, assess, and then move with an intention and consideration and sincerity through these things. So you still can like shift like your direction, your attraction, and keep putting, like you can keep putting eggs in certain baskets and like, okay, little bit by little bit, this basket is going to get fuller and fuller, and I'll attract that type of thing more and more. But it does take time. And then also just being discerning about what you drop off. You're like, okay, I said I was gonna like play guitar and I just never do it. And it's like, who and what am I playing guitar for? It's like, it's not that you're bad at music or something, but maybe it's not the time or the right environment, or you need to like start smaller or start in a different way. Like I just met with a movement coach because I want to be able to do straddle press up. And so I want to like spend time like devoted intentionally to that. And in this scenario, like that feels like what I'll need to like really make the progress with that physical challenge. And I like chose a movement coach who is like, I feel connected with in some way. And so I want to be in his energy. And then my money can go to help support his family, which I think is really beautiful. And then like be able to like spend the time and have accountability of showing up. But yeah, think about it. Stop chasing people. Like that energy feels bad. Like if we're worried about that, it's like this negative feeling. There's one thing they'll be like, hey, let's check in about this. But then it's like, sometimes just read the room, read the situation, read the relationship, and like choose. Sometimes it is choosing the easy path, the thing that finds most natural. And then sometimes, that's where the discernment, it's like sometimes it is the hard thing. But I think I gotta go make a baby and then go harvest some wood. I got still a little more designing to do, and then not harvest wood, but like pick it up, collect some and some stones, and then maybe like start breaking ground on the sauna. And like really, I'm excited. And then maybe you can come and get in the sauna too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week too. Next weekend, next week's, you know, another busy week, but next weekend I'm also going to, not this weekend, but next weekend, Friends Club. It's like a festival up in Canada. And I'm trying to go to a little bit more festivals just because they seem really magical, and there's some really like interesting creative people there. And there's a lot of music. I'm trying to incorporate more music into my life and more dancing. So I'm looking to dance a ton. But all right, I love you guys, and wish me luck on making a baby, you know.